This lesson is about scientific notation and a few problems associated with that. So why do we do it? Well, in science, there are many applications where it's easier to write very large or very small numbers in scientific notation, so you don't have to write all the zeros. So what is it? The definition is a positive number is written in scientific notation if it is written as the product of a number A, and A has to be greater than or equal to 1, but less than 10, so it can't be 10. And an integer power R. So it could be -3, -7, but it can't be like 1.5. So to write a number in scientific notation, what we do is this. You move the decimal point so that the original number is between 1 and 10, but not 10. It could be 1. Okay, so here we go. So for this first one, it's going to be 3.204, because that number, 3.204, is between 1 and 10. And then, if I am making the original number smaller, my exponent is going to have to be positive. So I moved it 2 places. So it would be 3.204 times 10 to the second. Let's think about what that means. That really means 3.204 times 10 times 10, or 3.204 times 100, which is the same thing as 320.4. Okay? So here's the number written in scientific notation. Next. Now let's look at this guy. So I'm going to put the decimal point so that it's a number between 1 and 10. Can be 1, can't be 10. So 5.5 is what I need. And if you think about it, I would have to make 5.5 bigger to get to 550,000. So I'm going to take it and multiply by 10 to the, well, how many did I move it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 10 to the 5th. 10 to the 5th is really 100,000. So it's 5.5 times 100,000, which is 550,000. I'm going to put a box around this guy. Notice how I dropped the zeros. I don't need to write them anymore. Okay, next. Now let's take a look at this tiny number. Well, I'm going to make this a number between 1 and 10, so I'm going to put it pretty much between the first 2 non-zero digits. And what I need to do is make this number smaller. So it has to be a negative exponent. So how many did I move the decimal? 1, 2, 3, 4. So 10 to the -4. And I think about it like that. Cool? Now you're saying, okay, we learned about negative exponents as reciprocals. How does this work? Well, let's take a look at it. Well, this would be 1 over 10 to the 4th, right? And 10 to the 4th is 1 over 10,000, or 1 10,000ths. 1 tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 10,000ths. So if I multiply these guys, got to move it back 4 places, checkerino, but here is what you want to write for scientific notation. Perfect? But this is the explanation. You don't have to write out your explanation, but I just wanted you to see why it worked. D. Well, 6 is already a number between 1 and 10, so we write it down, and we don't have to move the decimal point at all So we say it's 6 times 10 to the 0. Didn't have to make it bigger or smaller. Okay. A business projects next year's profits to be 49,700,000. So I'm going to write it in scientific notation, indicating it's money. So 4.97. I can drop those zeros. And then I want to make 4.97 bigger to get to 49 mil. And I had to move the decimal point 3, 6, 7 places. So it would be 4.97 times 10 to the 7th. Cool. Next. Now we're going to write it back in standard form. Here we go. So, again, what we talked about before is if we have this guy raise the positive power, I'm making this number bigger. So I have to move it to the right because 10 to the 5th is 100,000, right? So I'm really taking 8.45 and multiplying it by 100,000. But I don't want to have to do all the multiplication out. I just have to move the decimal point to the right, make it bigger, move it 5 places. So this is what I like to do. I write the original number and then I start moving. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Add zeros when I can. So it's 845 with 3 zeros. And I don't need to put the decimal point at the end. So it's 845,000. You don't need to put the commas in. Just leave it. Okay, next. Let's take a look at this guy. Again, 10 times 10 is 100. So I'm making this guy bigger, so I have to move it 2 places, again to the right. I write the original number down and move the decimal 2 places. And I say that my answer is 128.5. And I don't like to leave my answer sloppy like this. I like to write a nice, clean answer. Okay, 6.6 times 10 to the negative 5. Since it's a negative exponent, it's 1 over 10 to the 5th, right? So 1 over 100,000. So I'm really multiplying this number by 1/100,000th. So I'm making it smaller, so I have to move the decimal point to the left, 5 places. So I write my cute little number out, and then I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bada bing. Add the zeros, and now I write my clean copy. So it's really 66 tenths, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s, millions, 66 millions. Okay, and D. There are 2.144 times 10 to the 4th miles of highways, roads, and streets in a certain state. So I'm going to make this number bigger, so I have to move the decimal to the right 4 places. Write my original number out, move them 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, add a 0, write a clean copy. So it's 21,440 miles. Perfect. Now you can do the MyMathLab assignment associated with this lesson. Stay strong. You're doing great. Gotta love the math.